And we are recording, Mr. Mao. I am waiting for your nose to magically start just like...
You know, I just blew my nose
Okay,
before I jumped on the call. And everyone's sick around me. Everyone is sick right now. So I, this morning, made chicken stock. I had this I'll buy rotisserie chicken. I'll just eat the breast. I'm a tatters kind of guy. I just eat the breast, and the rest of it I just throw in a pot and carrots, onions, celery, garlic. I put a half a lime in there too, and then I boil that shit for hours, and now I'm drinking it. And let me tell you, I'm not getting sick. That shit ain't coming for me, motherfucker. No way. I'm
That's right.
unstoppable.
It's coming on him, not from him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biography of Chris Moore, everybody. All right, we're gonna do this. Oh my God, it's the Epstein Files. We're gonna do this in 3, 2, 1.
What are you doing?
Testes in my mouth.
Get on the ground, you fucking pledge!
Ew.
Welcome to the greatest podcast experience of your life. This is the FratChat podcast.
All young men like 3 things. Food, booze, pussy.
Featuring Carlos Garcia and Chris Moore.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting. It's the FratChat podcast. I'm Carlos Garcia with Chris CMO Diddy Moore. How's it going?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Wait, did you say CMO Diddy? I thought at first you said titty because I reference liking breasts, chicken breasts. That is.
I was thinking if you were paying attention, and you passed. You succeeded. you were pounding down that chicken stock like it owed you money. So for those of us
like
watching
anything
this on YouTube,
chicken
this
related.
could have been an ASMR, like you just see Mo gargling.
I have to say that chicken is probably my favorite thing in the world.
Chicken rules. Chicken is the most versatile meat, I should say. You can fucking make tacos. I just made a whole chicken actually this week, rotisserie style. So the first night we ate it as like a nice dinner with half of it with like potatoes and shit. The next day we had the leftover and shredded that shit down and made awesome clubhouses with it. Sandwiches. You can do tacos, you can do quesadillas, you can do fajitas, you can do fucking as it is. You can fry it, you can fucking pan cook it, you can grill it, you can fucking stick it in the oven. It's juicy, it's delicious, it's flavorful, it absorbs meat, it's faster to cook than turkey, and it's tastier too. It's full of protein and it doesn't make you fat if you eat it wisely. It's the greatest fucking thing.
Okay, so I have a question for you. I have a nutrition question for you. So I put so much stuff in my chicken stock, a lot. And so carrots, onions, celery, parsley, garlic. I put lime too.
Hell yeah.
Salt and whatever. But after so when it goes for hours, and the chicken, of course, it goes for hours, and then I strain it and I throw all that stuff away. But do I benefit from any of like the nutrition from the carrots and stuff, or no? Like, is chicken stock nutritious?
You just suck it up. Well, yeah, chicken stock is nutritious as shit. All that stuff you should have. Plus, it's hydrating, but it gives you good stuff. I'm not exactly sure what all the science behind it, and never looked it up. But
we should ask FK Jr.
I mean, eat some chicken stock by itself, it doesn't do anything. But if you just sprinkle a little bit of cocaine in there, I used to lick cocaine off of toilet seats, right? This is a Wendy's, sir.
I will say one thing about RFK Jr.
He just said that in an interview this week.
Yeah, I heard that.
Worry about germs. I used to do cocaine off of toilet seats.
I will say that even though he's fucking crazy
Yeah.
and unqualified in this position,
Yeah.
I do like his honesty.
Oh yeah. It's except when it comes to why we have more measles in the US than we've ever had and how it's quietly spreading.
I just think that comparatively with I know we're gonna talk about Epstein in just a few.
I like to eat
But
sludge for breakfast. He's so honest. Wow.
but when it was revealed that he had been on Epstein's flights, um, when they approached him, he was like, "Yep, I was there on this day for this reason, this day for this reason. It is what it is."
That's right.
Everyone else was like, "No, no, no, no," but he was like, "I'm gonna own it." So he's like, "Yeah, you know, I did coke. I used to do coke."
I used to do cocaine off of his dick. we were tight. He had the best stuff. What do you want me to do?
Man, what a joke. What a disappointment to the entire family.
I mean, that whole administration is just wild. The whole thing has been wild. The Pam Bondi this week
Oh
testifying.
God, what a Pam Bondi. If you're listening, and I'm sure you are, I just want you to know that you are an insufferable cunt.
That
And
was
I wish
awful.
all the worst things in life to happen to a person. I wish them all to you. And I hope that after this administration, you're found guilty of this global massive cover up. I hope you rot in jail. And like I hope you rot in like a federal prison, not like let's go buy a puppy and watch TV all day like Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm talking like a real jail. I hope that you die in jail.
Let me tell you, there is no precedent for the U.S. president to go to jail, but there is a precedent of attorney generals getting their ass to jail. Just look at your boy Nixon, who Daddy Trump used to love so much in his first term. I don't think he finished that story. So, just saying, just saying. However, they might be listening now. They're like trying to track down all the people who make fun of, the Trump admin and shit, and who say things about ICE. And it's like, ooh.
Well, I'm gonna say it again. I hope Pam Bondi goes to jail for the rest of her life. I hope her final days are lived in a cold, isolated jail cell.
And for the current great regime, who is, if you're listening, I just want you to say that, want you to know that CMO is an Astoria, and that's what he believes. I love the great leader. Oh, holy great leader with your totally massive hands, which means, what they say about men with massive hands, oh, great orange leader. I love you.
Big hands, big rap sheet. I'm
That's
familiar.
right. That's right. Hands, big necks.
I will say researching for this topic is difficult because when you ask ChatGPT for like
ChatGPT is crooked. It's crooked. ChatGPT is owned by like a huge Trump donor. So
yeah,
it wasn't steering me wrong. You got to do this. You got to actually like go in there and find your own research with this shit, which makes it even cooler in its own way, but also way more difficult because there's fucking millions and millions of files. And that's just what we've seen. And that's most of it like redacted. There's still a bunch of shit that they're like, oh no, we're not going to release anymore, which is bullshit. So you got to keep fighting.
So
make sure we get
ChatGPT is like, well, the FBI said this, nothing's been like verified and this and that. Oh yeah, of course the FBI said that because Trump owns the FBI.
That's
you know what
right.
I mean? You can't trust anybody.
ChatGPT is literally like, did you know he totally killed himself? And it was just him and Maxwell. That's all we can prove. And then you see like a little caveat, don't believe it. And then all of a sudden, you run out of free messages with ChatGPT 10.0. Do you want to use the next lower edition for the next 3 hours and 55 minutes? And you're like, I guess. And that one comes in like, oh, hi, guys. Epstein killed himself. It's like, oh, no.
Yep.
That's drunken Timmy again. It's drunken Timmy
crazy. You can't make this shit up. It's so crooked.
Government. No, drunken Timmy, stop drinking. You used to go to Harvard before you started drinking. Oh no.
Did you see when they so first of all, Pam Bondi got her ass handed to her, and I was here for it. And some of my friends were like, "I don't like to talk about politics." I'm like, "Guys, like, you have to get involved. Like, you have like, this
No,
is
and you have to
important
watch
stuff."
that. That was left or right. I think everybody agrees that was a masterclass and a total fucking meltdown. I'm gonna answer the question. Why don't you let me answer the question? You guys have Trump deranged syndrome. Why don't you see that the fact that the Dow is now, the stock market broke 50,000 today?
She said she said, "Why are you guys
Why you
laughing?" And she even started laughing.
I'm only laughing because you're laughing. It was the wildest meltdown I have ever seen. Like, that person's supposed to be a lawyer, not just the attorney general, but a fucking lawyer. And lawyers are taught to like kind of keep their cool when they're doing shit, which goes to show, her record as an attorney was not the best, other than what was it? Giving Epstein a sweetheart deal to begin with.
Well, I was about to ask you that. Like, she comes from Florida, and then he had his, like, mansion in Florida, and then when he got in trouble back in, like, 2007, 2008, wasn't she the one, like, handling
Yeah, it was
it?
her office. It was her people.
And, like,
It was
and I
elite.
think ultimately it was Acosta that, like, gave him another sweetheart deal.
Yeah,
But
Monday. We're watching you, bitch.
horrible.
But again,
What a
I love the
stupid
great
time.
leader. Go, great leader. Go get CMO.
And, well, apparently, this is what I learned, according to Pam Bondi, that in Trump's America, it's okay to diddle as long as the Dow Jones is looking good.
That's right. But then it's funny because
That's why I deduced from what she
the
said.
next day it went boo, and it like lost 1,000 points. So I don't think it's back up to 50 quite yet, because this was a bad week for stocks. But that's also the problem. Like, it's like good things are happening like that, and they were gonna keep happening anyways. He was set up with a great economy, but it's so volatile, and volatility like that. Like, there's got to be market volatility in some sense. That's what makes it a risk, regardless. Like, at any point, it can crash. So that's why, like, you're not always guaranteed to win money with certain things, but it shouldn't be like one day goes up fucking 1,000 points, the next day it drops 1,000 points. Like it shouldn't be like that. It's like a fucking like bam, 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 bam. Like 1,000 points drop in a day used to be the type of thing that would like fucking destroy people, and now it's like that's just happening
Internationally, it affects
a
other
couple times
people
a week.
too.
Totally. So you can't, and it makes people not want to trust American markets either. So it's the reason why a lot of people invest in gold. And I don't know much about stock trading and shit. I have my own little portfolio. It makes a little bit of money, but I ain't rich. So I'm a fucking comedian who's a little high. So take that for what you will. But anyways, it's time to listen to you guys, because it's emails from the listeners. Oh yeah. And we got some good ones. Simo's is really good, so I'm gonna have him be the main event. Mine, I found one, Robert from LA, who is excited for the Epstein episode, and I picked a short and sweet one for once. He's
I
right
was
to the
gonna
point.
say, I don't recognize what's happening today, because
That's
you always
right.
pick the longest letters. Ugh.
Well, this guy, we've been telling people we're gonna listen to make this week the Epstein episode. It's been out there. I was hoping someone would ask the question, and this one did. And this one, because there's a lot of people talking about Epstein right now. But here's the thing: just like we found out by asking ChatGPT, some of these people are not interested in the truth. They're interested in making certain people look good. So Robert from LA wants to see where we're at with the situation. He goes, "Hey, FratChat guys, super excited for the Epstein episode. To test your credibility on the subject, I like to ask, do you think Epstein killed himself, or was he taken out? Your answer will determine your trustworthiness," which I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to roll with it, "best Robert from LA. So,
I think
not
it's
gonna
a
lie, Robert,
word. It
is
sounds right.
trustworthiness a word?
Yeah. I think he spelled
I
it
know
wrong. Maybe it's with an
trustworthy
I
is.
instead of a Y.
Ah, so that's what it is. He misspelled it.
Yeah, it's a word. I use that word sometimes.
Trustworthiness. Yeah. All right. It's cool. He just misspelled
Credibility.
it. So he's half an idiot. Fuck you, Robert. I'm just kidding. But anyways, now that we
He
lost
probably just said
Robert.
it into his phone, maybe.
No, his phone would have spelled it right.
Oh, I guess you're right. Mm. I just know
But
that
definitely,
I'm
yeah.
so dependent upon spell check. And it's like when I'm writing things by hand, I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I'm so dependent on like my Apple phone knows me so well.
The worst is I was trying to send a Spanish text on Julie's phone yesterday because she left something in an Uber driver's car, and the guy spoke only Spanish. So I was like, oh, I got it. But she doesn't have the Spanish keyboard, so every fucking word would get corrected to something in English, and it was like having reverse spell check. Like I had to every word I would put in, I had to go back and re-edit, and it took so goddamn long that I literally almost fucking threw her phone out the window.
Yeah, that's
So
horrible.
imagine not just not having spell check, but having reverse spell check. So fuck that. But anyways, Robert, just like Epstein, we're getting distracted here from the truth. But I used to be like in the middle about the whole thing. So it was like, well, it's very cool. It's conspiracy theory. Definitely a lot of stuff that could be seen that way. But what do I know? And the truth kind of got buried. But two things that I see as crucial pieces of evidence tell me that Epstein did not kill himself. For example, the neck wound for his injury there, for his neck, uh, you know, breakage there, showed that it was not made by the noose that that was left next to Epstein's body in his jail cell. So that's very sketchy. The noose that was there did not make the ligature marks around his neck. And there was also no blood transfer from him to it, which is very sketchy. It doesn't make a ton of sense, especially uh, with something like that. And note that this was also said by a doctor that Epstein's brother hired to look into it because he thought things were weird with what the government was saying. And some are saying that, oh, well, it's possible it'll happen. So that kind of left me, okay, well, there's one doctor say one thing, doctor say another thing. But what made it now, for me, definite, in my opinion, definite that he killed himself was the whole missing minute of the night of his murder. And which I'm saying murder based on what I saw in the so-called missing minute that was supposed to originally, the excuse they told us was that that was a glitch within the camera system. Sometimes they got to change the system or they change the tapes and shit, and it happens at every time at the same time. And it's just a procedural thing. Unfortunately, it happens. Nothing sketchy happened in those 60 seconds. Well, turns out that that's not something that happens every night, as was proven. And there is a little bit of footage from that 1 minute, which showed, and no, it's blurry because it's shitty prison footage, but you could see a body, a mass moving up or down towards Epstein's cell. Forget where, if he was down or up, but you can see making a trajectory there, and you can see the orange prison jumpsuit poking out. It's not like a full like, hey, buddy, but you can see like the arm and like at least from the shoulder down to kind of like the thigh. And someone had said something. I forget their government was trying to say, well, that kind of looks like it could be a security guard bringing up some prison pajamas that way or something. But then most people who look at it know that's actually someone wearing the uniform. If you carry a fucking uniform, it doesn't fucking fly like all the way down. You know what I mean? Unless you're like dragging it like that, which you would have seen someone's hands. So it's ridiculous. So they're fucking bullshitting. So the missing footage is kind of like the files. You know what I mean? At first, the files are on our desk. All of a sudden, oh no, there are no files. What are you talking about? I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. All of a sudden, oh, here they are, but we can't. We're just working really hard to redact stuff. And look, a squirrel. And then they just fucking throw like a file that way and keep running with the rest. So that's where we're at. But the same thing with the footage here. First, it was, oh, the footage doesn't exist. Then it was, oh, this was just a glitch in the system. The tape's erased it, and you can't see it. And now it's, oh, look at that footage there. That's a security guard carrying a uniform, clearly. My God, mystery solved. It's like, no, this is sketchy as shit. So the combination of those two things, in my opinion, totally make me believe that he didn't kill himself. So that's where I'm at. He didn't kill himself. And no, I'm very healthy. I like my life. I'm cool. So if I disappear.
Well, Robert from LA, I don't think he killed himself. Neither does his confidant and girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. She doesn't think he killed himself. So yeah, I think we're all on the same page. But I just want to say with the FBI, it's just so disappointing today. So when I first moved to New York, I my first weekend here, I stepped off a curb in Chelsea and a pipe bomb went off. And do you remember this? This was like 2016. And I just jumped into an Uber, and then as we drove away, a pipe bomb went off. And then there was like 8 stashed around like New Jersey and New York. Do you remember this? And then
No.
and the FBI was able to find like the other 8 pipe bombs, I guess. Like they were on it,
Oh,
and they
oh my God, yeah. I
and I
feel
was
so
like,
much
what a
shit.
win for the FBI. I used to think to myself, wow, the FBI, they're so good. They're so good. And now I'm like, how can you find all these 8 pipe bombs before they go off in like this like terrorist attack? But you can't you can't determine if this guy killed himself or not. Like, obviously it's an inside job, guys. I mean, like, it's so disappointing.
Yeah.
FBI, what's going on?
What happened to you,
Cash
FBI?
Patel, you suck.
Yeah,
Is that his
Cash
name?
Patel, you got no money.
Yeah.
But anyways, we do
Anyways,
news.
next up, how do you pronounce this name?
Milan? You? Oh, it's you. All right, I forgot about your guy.
Yeah.
I was gonna go to the news, and I totally forgot. You got Byron.
Oh, that's how
I
you say it. Byron.
How did you think it was? I should
I
let you
don't
go first.
know. Baran? Yeah. I don't. Byron.
Oh,
Byron?
Byron.
Byron.
That's a white ass name though. Not Byron.
Um,
Byron.
Byron, that's the white person name?
That is the whitest dude you ever meet.
Because in
Hi, guys.
Scottsdale, Arizona, there's a lot of white people. There's also a big like Latino base.
Oh, this is not a Latino name. You never meet a Byron Garcia. I'll tell you that much.
No.
That is not gonna happen. That guy is not gonna be invited to the cookout. What's your name? Byron Garcia? What the fuck? Did your family hate you? Were you adopted or something? Is it like a family curse that you have to name that to clear?
It'd be Byron Garcia Hernandez Martinez Arejo
De la Vega Martinez.
Okay, so he wrote, this is a tough one, guys. I don't know. So he said, Dear FratChat, he wrote, my girlfriend of 4 years just asked me to be in an open relationship.
What?
Wait.
Hold on. I gotta hit him with a. All right, proceed.
Yeah,
What?
so my girlfriend of 4 years just asked me to open the relationship. We've invited others into our bedroom in the past, but we've always
Ooh.
played together. Now it seems like she'd like to play without me, and I don't know what to think. Is this the beginning of the end of our relationship? Happy
Yes.
Valentine's Day, Byron. Oh, God.
Byron, sorry, buddy.
Is it
Not
over? Anyway, happy Valentine's Day. Um,
Ooh, yeah, I forgot. We are recording this
you
on
know,
Valentine's.
I feel like whew, this is a tough one. I would say yes. I would say sorry, dude.
It's not
But
going well. So not much. Oof.
you know what? I'm gonna tell you something personal. And that is, um, so when I got married, we had a discussion that I would never want to open a relationship. It's just something I don't
Mhm.
want to do. A lot of my friends have open relationships, and I don't judge them, but I'm just not wired in the way that I could allow my significant other to have sex with other people. And I also think
Yeah, me
that
too.
the moment I'm like physically intimate with someone, like I develop feelings. I can't just have casual sex. I've never really been that person. And
Right.
so before we got married, um, I had said, I don't necessarily not believe in it. I just don't want it for myself. And then
Mhm.
we were going through a rough patch, and he said, "Date other people. I don't care." I said, "I really don't feel comfortable with that." And he was like, "No, go for it." So then I did, and then he decided to close the relationship. He was like,
Of
"Actually,
course.
I don't want to do this anymore." And then that was kind of like the beginning of the end for us. So um, I feel like some people will open the relationship because maybe they don't have much sexual chemistry anymore with their significant other, and I think that's a bad sign. Because if you don't have sexual chemistry and your significant other is getting their back blown out by somebody else, then it's only a
Mm,
matter of time before they develop feelings for that somebody else. You know what I mean? It gets very
of course.
muddy. I think that like a
Absolutely.
relationship,
Literally.
yeah, yeah. I think that a relationship, or specifically even like a marriage, I feel like um, if you really want to um build on something with the person, then you should focus on
Mhm.
that one person. But um, I feel like once you involve other people, it doesn't really seem like
Mm.
this is my opinion, but just doesn't seem like a healthy. I'm about actually maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm being judgmental. Just me personally, I can't do it. So I don't know what
Yeah.
what you guys are doing, but if you enter the relationship under the pretense that you would always play together, and now she's saying, "I don't want to anymore," then she's reneging on like the aforementioned rules. Fuck that hoe, dump her ass, and you go find someone else. That's what I think.
Uh, it's funny. I don't know if you've been watching the new season of Summer House, but there is a guy on there who always has relationship troubles with his now wife on the show. And I'm pretty sure in real life, after they recorded this season, they actually like separated after all those years. But uh they were like talking like about how they were in Italy with this other guy who's now a cast member on the show, and how they got drunk one night and people were like skinny dipping and things got weird and they don't necessarily go into it. Then they got really awkward and quiet, and someone asked, like, did you guys have an orgy or something? And it was like freeze frame, you know? And then you see her trying to fucking go skinny dipping again with the guy that she already did, but this is in front of other people now. And the husband's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, your titties are out. It's like, no, it's fine. He has already seen them, you know? It's like, what the fuck? So yeah, when someone starts playing with other people, you run the very big risk that somebody hotter is gonna come out than you. You know what I mean? Like it's just this. It's life.
Well,
You're gonna be attracted to other people. Like you're opening up. Like obviously, like it's okay to look, people. It's not. You know what I mean? I see a fucking fat ass walking down the street. I fucking have eyes. It's not. It's like that never goes away. Where you're like, God damn. But it's like if I had the choice to go back to the buffet line every fucking time, or even like the person I'm with had that choice, eventually like they're gonna find something better than you. It's just the way it is. It's just probability. You know what I mean? They might find someone who has a 9-inch dick and is a billionaire and has 6-pack abs. And at this point, you're a little tubby. You know? Who knows? Like it's just life. You're leaving yourself up to the possibility that if you're in a throuple, 2 of them might move on without you. It's just what it is.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I think
So
that I have a lot of friends who are polyamorous and like they're happy, and so who am I to judge? I can just talk about my own experience, and that is when my husband told me to go hook up and have sex with whomever. It crushed me because I had this like internal conflict where I was like, when I said my vows, like that meant something to me, and so I was committing to one person. I don't want to bring other people into this,
totally. I'd
and
be
and so
suspicious
for
too.
and
Like
for
if Julie
so
was like, go bang other people, I'd be like, what? No, what the fuck? What's the catch here?
the
It's like not good. You feel like, are you already banging someone else too? Like it's obviously like there's something
yeah,
like behind it that but
and so like um when he had said that, I was crushed because at that point, I would never want to even imagine him with someone else, and for him to just be like, "Whatever," and not care, I felt like, "Okay, maybe he doesn't care that much about me," and so
ooh,
it was
that hurt.
it was just so upsetting. It was so upsetting,
Yeah.
and for months,
Yeah.
I was like, "Can we visit this conversation?" And I didn't act on it for months, and then I just convinced myself that he was done, and to me, I told myself, "This is the beginning of the end," and, it is what it is, but I guess just my point is that, I do know a lot of relationships that have, dabbled in openness, and it didn't work well for them, um, because there's a lot of jealousy, there's a lot of possessiveness, there's a lot of, hurt feelings. But I think that if you are to do something open, my friends who have successful polyamorous relationships, they are super duper communicative. And so I
Yeah.
feel like if you set your boundaries and the rules and you overly communicate, it might be awkward at the beginning, but then if you're able to rock it out, that's good for you. But
Totally.
but I just think yeah, I think that if it makes you uncomfortable, then you need to have a conversation with her. Byron, sorry, buddy, but it might be the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I sorry that you asked. You gotta set ground rules and safe words. That's part of every throuple.
Mulligan!
That's right. Sweaty nipples. Oh God. Ooh. Anywho, good luck with that there, buddy. But we do now. We can get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we got not just regular news, but a very special edition of the news. Yeah, we got a special edition of the news because we got the Olympic edition of the news again. We liked our peanut stories last week at the Winter Olympics. I said, hey, fuck it. We might as well bring you back some more. So we're back to check in with the penises of all the Olympians of the world and see how they're doing this fantastic occasion. Last we checked, they were getting penis injections to increase blood flow down there. And it was potentially increase aerodynamics. Who knew? This week, what are their penises up to? Let's find out. Because at the Milan Cortina Olympics, the Olympic Village wasted no time proving whole stereotypes still apply when organizers handed out 10,000 free condoms in Cortina. and athletes reportedly went through them all in just 3 days, according to La Stampa. 10,000 condoms in 3 days. Holy shit. Cortina is one of 6 housing sites of nearly 2,900 athletes overall, with about 1,100 athletes, coaches, and officials staying there alone. 10,000 between 1,100 people, which hopefully it's not the coaches, in 3 days. So while organizers say more condoms are coming, athletes aren't optimistic. You're going to read this anonymous athlete, and he said, they promised us more will arrive, but who knows when? You know, he was always like sad in Italian. And recent games. When will we get more condoms? My penis, my penis. Recent games. That's right. There's these little things, fill them up with water, and you just throw them at people. Like water balloons, is that what they're called? I don't know. Anyways, recent games have tried to slow down athlete hookups with mixed success. COVID restrictions forced intimacy bans at the Tokyo Olympics and Beijing Winter Olympics before being lifted at the Paris Olympics because, of course, they don't call them the Eiffel Tower for nothing. Where organizers reportedly distributed more than 300,000 condoms. Goddamn. The practice itself dates back to the Seoul Olympics when condoms were introduced to promote safe sex during the AIDS epidemic. Now, the now infamous anti-sex cardboard bags were something that were added as part of an effort to curb athlete relations during the last 3 Olympics, though that policy was scrapped this year. British ice dancer Phoebe Becker confirmed in a TikTok video that her bed frame is made of wood. So, answer the question everybody's asking. Here it is hers. There's no cardboard bed, she said. Off the beds, tech companies also stepped in. Grindr changed its location settings for the 3rd consecutive games to protect users' identities, noting that precise distance data could be used to pinpoint someone's location and that simply appearing on the app can be dangerous in countries where LGBTQ plus identities remain criminalized. Even with all that, athletes still have plenty to do in the village. Like, you know, there's DJs, air hockey, jerking off, foosball tables, fully equipped gyms, and jerking off. Though none of it seems to have slowed demand for those missing condoms. So if you want to check out more penis stories, let us know, and we'll see what these guys are doing next week. But what do you think? 10,000 condoms in 3 days for 1,000 people. Is that good?
I think they're fucking like goddamn rabbits.
Yeah, that's what they need, those injections.
And let me tell you something. These athletes probably have the stamina of like of champions. They fuck all night. There's been times I've had sex. I'm like, oh, these quads, like I can't. There's nothing else for me to give. You know what I mean? But
totally, I'm in there. I'm in there. I'm like,
there's
I need to
times
take
where I'm like,
down.
I really wish I stretched more.
Yeah. Yeah, the old thighs definitely start wearing out as you get older. And I have to say, these people train all their lives, so like they're like they might be around beautiful people and stuff, but like not the peak of the peak beautiful people of all like the peak athletes in the fucking world with the peak bodies in tip-top shape, you know, all in one place. And they've all been fucking training like fucking horses for the goddamn 18 to 20 something years of their lives. And by the time they get there, they horny. They pent up. You put them all in a room together, some booze there, usually in these countries. The drinking age is 18 instead of 21. So you can do whatever the fuck you want. And the fuck they want, they do, You know
what? I was in Italy recently, and people are beautiful there. Italians are beautiful. And even like this might be inappropriate, but like I think that my staff they're all very pretty. Everyone that I work with, they're all like stunning. And some of my staff members in America are like, oh, they always hire pretty people. I'm like, I just think that there's just a lot more pretty people. I don't know if we just handpick pretty people, just like everyone's beautiful in Italy,
they have a thing that New York has too, which is you walk a lot. So, but in Italy, you
Yeah.
walk like fucking everywhere. You walk even more, and it's bigger. I feel like so.
On cobblestones.
Yeah, and you're eating your carbs. You know, you're out there and shit. You eat a lot of food that is helpful in walking around all day, but you are on your feet. So I know a lot of people who lose weight when they go to Italy, even though they're eating like fucking, elephants, because it's just you're on your feet way more than you're in America. So that that will help your lifestyle. But yeah, Italians are beautiful. I always had a thing for Italian women. Love them. So if it doesn't work out, Italian women, call me. Give me. I'm here. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, grazie mille, prego, prego.
Prego. That's right.
At the airport, they say prego all the time. I think it means like welcome or like come this way, or I think. Or it could be a spaghetti sauce, lots of things.
Yes, it is delicious. It means please. Prego. Come over here, please.
Prego, prego.
Or you can say per favore. Or per placer. It's very like Spanish. Per placer. But yeah. Or also you're welcome. Or they say after you too. So yeah, it seems like it's a very they just use that word for 2/3 of their
like their prego is my I always say oh I do a lot of sounds that mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, usually that it's hitting the back of your throat.
Sometimes
you gotta walk in right into that one. But
yeah,
it's time to walk right into this because it's time to get to it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, FratChatters of all ages.
Oh my god, this song is so scary.
It's time for an unsolved mystery. What happened to Jeffrey Epstein? Did he kill himself? We don't think so. However, are his friends creepy pedo people? It looks like it. We're uncovering the Epstein Files here at the FratChat podcast. Sorry, there's something in my throat. I don't know, wrong thing. But yeah, we're talking Epstein Files, people. We've been uncovering and reviewing and reading as much as CMO can read, just to see what's in these files, just before it's too late. Let me tell you, we found some shit. Some crazy shit. And the fact is, we will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the people on the top are covering this shit up. So, get ready. Sit down. Change your underwear if you must, because you're about to shit yourself when we uncover the top 10 craziest things we've found in the Epstein Files so far. And no, big so far. Because again, there's like 6 million pages and some shit like that out. And more to come, hopefully, if possible. So we might have to revisit this topic as more crazy shit is uncovered. For now, I think the crazy shit we've uncovered is crazy shit enough. Because it's crazy shit. So, time to get to it. Are you ready to get to it?
This song is so scary to me.
I don't want to.
When you said change your underwear, I thought I might have to.
I don't know. That's why I wear 2 layers of diaper on me. Some adult diapers. It's always great. I don't have to get up these long journeys. I just let it rip. So,
you know what? My boss sits in a chair with this pillow that's still in its plastic for like lumbar support, and every time she moves, it sounds like she's wearing a diaper. I get the giggles so bad.
Is it one of these?
Oh, it's like that, yeah. What do you use?
This is for my gaming chair that Julie got me. It actually does work, but it's because the chair like without it, it does kind of leave like a little space behind your lumbar, which if you have bad lower back issue, aka lumbar pain, as I do, it can be annoying after a while. So with the pillow though, it's perfect. But yeah, when I move, can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's
Sounds
like
like farts. I use this.
so it can kiss your ass.
Exactly.
I like it.
Okay, so should I go first?
Yeah, take it. Hit us.
Okay. So there's a obviously there's a lot of information about the Epstein files, but there was recently a big dump like a week ago, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was.
A big dump of more stuff. And it's just so much stuff to sift through. It's not really organized. Like every day we're learning more and more stuff, you know? And
Mhm.
I also think that I mean, I've never been involved in like an illegal like um I don't know, ring of whatever. But it seems like some of these files might be used in like code language.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So some of it's not doesn't really make sense. Some things are redacted so much that it's hard to like make sense of it. So we did the best we could. But anyway, I wrote here that the FBI intake report alleges that Trump could potentially be linked to a death of this 19-year-old girl in Oklahoma in 2000. Now, of
Mhm.
course, the Department of Justice calls it sensationalists and unverified, but X, or what I like to call Twitter, I don't think that Elon reserves the right for us to refer to him as X owner.
Yeah,
So because if it's a Twitter, you tweet. X, you still tweet. So we're still using like the root word of Twitter.
yeah, that's right. Or you X. I don't know.
Like
What do
I
you?
don't X message,
I'll never call it
X
X though.
post. No
I'll
way.
die on that hill.
But people on Twitter are like really like having a field day. Okay, so
Mhm.
follow me with this. So in October 2020, there was this
Hold on.
guy.
Let's follow you. Hold on. Okay, now we're following. Let's go.
That's so scary. Okay, so in October 2020, this guy who was a self-identified limo driver had said in this account that he once drove Trump in 1995, and he overheard references to Jeffrey and mentioned that he was abusing some girl. And I actually heard more about this in an interview, and this guy had said that he was inclined to turn around and beat the shit out of Trump for hearing what he was hearing.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
his
I heard
mouth
that.
shut. And so someone called, I guess, called into the FBI with some information. And I guess they reported that this woman had claimed that she'd been raped by both Trump and Epstein. When this person urged her to call the police, she said, "I can't, they will kill me." So this caller also added that the woman had eventually contacted the police, but was later found dead near Kiefer, Oklahoma in January 2000.
Oh,
And her death was characterized as suspicious.
yeah, I'd say so. Or would
So,
it be classified as unstrong?
unsolved mysteries. So some records in Oklahoma, like the medical examiner ruled the cause of death was suicide by gunshot wound. Some law enforcement agencies disagreed with that, and they felt that that wasn't entirely accurate. Um, Law enforcement agencies have not linked Epstein, Trump, or anyone else to this woman's death under investigation. So going back, the DOJ said that some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. So I think because it was brought forth right at the beginning of the election, that people felt like it wasn't credible, I guess.
Right.
But let me tell you, these Twitter users, um, don't believe this claim as being sensationalist. So many commentators noted that FBI intake reports can contain raw or speculative claims, particularly when submitted close to election cycles, when politically motivated tips are more common. With the Oklahoman, this is a magazine, the Oklahoman, confirming that death was ruled a suicide, the FBI tip appeared to have been aligned with a 19-year-old student named Dusty Rhea Duke. So that's who we think is that person. And we think that maybe she is somehow connected with Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein.
Whoa. And
That's like what all the young people are talking about right now. This is a
that
new
is
situation.
crazy. Yeah, and some of those tips, man, were pretty wild.
And her sister won't talk. Everyone's like, we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Super sketchy. Definitely super sketchy. And no, there's tips that you'll see on there, like there's on the FBI tip sheet. Some that reference Trump or that says, these were deemed uncredible. And some people who are desperate to clear Trump's name cling on to that and try to mischaracterize it as if the report, as if that is saying that the entire tip line is found uncredible. But no, that was just for specific cases. There were some where the explanations are like it was followed up to through the FBI or whatever, and nothing. Either eventually the person stopped cooperating or things like that. But some were deemed credible, especially some including the president. So this is sketchy and sketchy as shit. But good start, Mr. Mo. I feel a little unsolved now. But anyways, here is a mystery as well.
Oh, can I say one quick thing? I've been in a limo before, multiple times, and in a limo, sometimes the driver can either driver or the passenger can like pull down the little window between the
Yeah,
driver and the passengers and discuss things, or for privacy, they can put the window up. Whether the window's up or down, you can still hear everything. So I think that I can see how Donald Trump might think that he's having a private conversation because he can't necessarily see anyone. Just because you don't see them doesn't mean they can't hear you. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And
He's
like
kind of
he
a
and
moron too.
even back then he's been recognizable for decades. Like people know who he is.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, he has been recognizable for at least the mid '80s, at
Yeah.
least, probably earlier. Um, and I could see him thinking that it's private because, like in movies, you know what I mean. You always see like the bad guy on his little, car phone that's like this big, pulls out the antenna. Shh. Hello there, Bill. That's up. I'm gonna kill this hooker. Oh yeah, don't worry. The partition is up. And the guy's like, "What, Donald? Hang up. This is." Oh no, it's okay. I can say anything I want. Look, this guy's a total bozo up there. Look at him driving like an idiot.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's what happens when the president is not upright. So let's just say that.
Correct.
But anywho, we're gonna take you guys over to my side of the list. And this one, I never thought that the Epstein Files would make me actively laugh out loud in some ways, but this next story from it might, because did Bill Gates get an STD?
Oh, this is my favorite part.
It might have. He might have, because the Epstein Files are sure to embarrass a lot of people. With terrible, terrible allegations about them. But few were more embarrassing and ridicule worthy than the draft email that Epstein wrote to himself, allegedly with the thought to send it to Microsoft founder Bill Gates. The email discusses Bill getting an STD from quote unquote Russian girls and offers him STD meds. Right. Gates' slip is now ex-wife Melinda. So yeah, these Russian girls, you take this in your penis and it feels much better, comrade. But this is the email, which again is from Jeffrey Epstein to Jeffrey Epstein. Subject Bill, and Bill Gates, we'll see what he says about it. But he says, "Dear Bill, I cannot believe that you had chosen to disregard our friendship. Developed." Wait, hold on. I feel like he needs. This is a little. There we go. "Dear Bill, I cannot believe that you had chosen to disregard our friendship. Developed over the last 6 years. I am aware that accidents happen. It is how each of us has chosen to deal with this unfortunate event that has to be dismayed beyond comprehension. You have decided to discharge me from my job. Had Larry, your PR person, tell me that I engage in morally inappropriate behavior. Ask me to be the major actor in a cover-up so you can maintain the reputation that you have worked so hard to achieve. Ask me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement and have categorically told me that we cannot have any direct ongoing business relationship. In total disregard for impact on the public perception of my reputation. I will have to vigilantly. There's a lot of typos in this shit. He writes.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So you're pretty good so far. I will have to diligently avoid the proof and avoid the truth and tell people that Bill did not invest with me and craft an answer that suits your need. But you did agree to send you a letter of recommendation should a future employer ask for one. You have told me that Melinda insists on me not communicating with you unless Larry is copied or present. You have consistently maintained that I could not have done a better job, that I was underpaid compared to my contribution. You went beyond all sense of fairness and frankly decency, so that as a generous compensation for keeping the Gates' reputation intact, you will let me keep what we agreed I had already been owed for the investment, he said. You gave me 2 years severance, similar to Christine Turner, another casualty. If the shoe was on the other foot, I would have said, Horace, this is not your fault. I confessed to Melinda. Ooh, that's his wife. You didn't. It was in a moment of weakness, and I will do anything within my power to make it right for you. I have more money than anyone needs, and I assure you I will structure something so that you will not be penalized for my error. Lucky for me, I have enough money to provide to you, although it will not heal the injury. It will make you secure in your future. In addition, I will bend over backwards to make sure your next career is rewarding and on an upswing. I appreciate the fact that this drastically alters your plans and very aware of the career path you gave up to join the foundation. I am very sorry, almost done here, but as I believe time heals all wounds, this will eventually pass. In that regard, I suggest I buy you the house that you so bad your heart's set on, and in addition to 5 years severance, we'll buy you out in the investment contract we had agreed. 30 to 40% of a $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's dollars, term and conditions to be agreed. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. What I did receive, however, was an unfriendly, strongly worded email telling me how employable I am and that I should not look to you for any significant financial aid in the future. To add insult to injury, you then implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda and the description of your penis.
What's the description? Was it shriveled up? Was it oozing?
That's right. It hangs low and it also wears big glasses.
Yeah.
The pubes look like a bowl cut. This is, hi, my name is William. My name is Richard. Oh, God. You also made it clear to me that I am not to refer to blank, as that is another topic that must remain between the two of us. That blank was redacted there. Who knows? In return for all these requests, which I would have done without a second thought, I am not to attend meetings with Melinda. I should continue to provide you the same level of service and dedication that I have done so diligently until you are ready to discard me and our friendship. Wow. This email was found in Epstein's drives, and the claims appear in like a stream of consciousness draft notes, or at least that's what Bill Gates tried to say, even though clearly that's like a pretty strongly worded letter there that he was going to, that thinking of sending him. And it does seem to me like he is saying, hey, I know about your STDs and your dicks. You better pay me out my half of what you owe me, motherfucker, or else. That's kind of what I'm reading out of that.
Yeah. And also, doesn't it look like it was written by a typewriter?
Yeah, right. All his emails do look like that. He doesn't believe in capitalization at all. I don't think he realizes you can just hit shit.
Period space.
That's all it is. That's right.
Wasn't he a teacher though?
Yeah, but he didn't get hired as a teacher because he was smart. He got hired as a teacher because the dude that owned the school was a creepy billionaire who.
Oh.
Very weird. So he literally was like Epstein his whole life is an enablement of just a life of being enabled. So I don't know, man. It's crazy to think what wouldn't have happened if these rich people wouldn't have given him life, you know. But anyhow, note this email said Bill Gates recently commented saying that this clearly shows that this is an email to blackmail him. And Gates has acknowledged that meeting with Epstein starting in 2011 was this quote unquote serious error in judgment. He said, the email is false. I don't know what his thinking was there. Was he trying to attack me in some way? Every minute I spend with him, I regret. And I apologize that I did that. He maintains their interactions were strictly focused on fundraising for global health initiatives. However, because hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, Bill Gates' ex-wife, Melinda French Gates, which I feel like she put the French back in just to make it, you know, fuck you. Should have just been Melinda, fuck you, Gates. She recently commented on the files in an interview with NPR's Wildcard podcast, and her answer did not help Bill Gates in the case of public opinion, at least in my court, because she said, and I quote, for me, it's personally hard whenever those details come up, right? Because it brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage. Whatever questions remain there or what, I can't even begin to know all of it. Those questions are for those people or for even my ex-husband, she said. And she kept going. They need to answer for those things, not me.
But no, Melinda, I'm sorry, girl, but if you were aware of underage girls and you didn't say anything, you might have to answer too.
Well, apparently, and again, this now I'm going a little further in than something that, you know, I mean, I don't want to tiptoe too far where Bill Gates will come after us, but apparently one of the reasons where she decided like this motherfucker is dead to me is that she found out about Epstein and that's when she left. That is kind of what she has insinuated, that when she found out about that shit, that was the end, and that's when she took him to the cleaner and has been donating his money and shit. So if so, power to you, girl. She probably have to sign an NDA to do that, to get that money. So whatever. But it's definitely weird. And it's hard not to look at Bill Gates the same way. You know what I mean? Because I always looked at him as like the nerdy uncle kind of a thing. Who, you know, sure, he had that DUI when he was young, but he was just like a normal nerdy dude with his little sweaters and shit. I never assumed that guy was out there getting STDs from Russian hookers. Like, what?
But okay, let me give you like a different scenario. Let's say that you're married to someone who was involved in 9/11. You found out, and you're like, what the hell? Like, I can't be with you. They're like, "Fine, but, like, I'll give you money, but you can't talk about it because I don't wanna get in trouble." Then, like, okay, then it comes out years later, okay, and then you're like, "Listen, like, I left my spouse because they were a bad person." They're like, "Yeah, but you knew. You knew. If you knew something, you didn't come forward, then you are complicit." Does that make sense? So, like, so I
I
do
get it.
think that she's a do-gooder, and part of me, I hope that she's a do-gooder because she's a good person and not because it's a guilty conscience because she never said anything to help these poor young girls. Like, I think that people forget that, like, these are children being trafficked, and if anyone had any information, they were compelled to come forward with it, you know?
Yeah, but you finding out that your husband got an STD from, a Russian hooker doesn't mean you know the reach of, like, what Epstein was doing. You just
Correct.
know
I'm not
that.
saying she knew all the details, but if she had any inkling that there was, human trafficking or
Yeah, I
underage
mean, that's
nonsense
what I
that
was
she
saying,
had, I think she should have said something.
and that's right.
So
I don't think she had any inkling of that. She just found out that her husband cheated on her and gave her an STD. I'm
right,
pretty
right.
sure that's like
But
that's
you
not like that's embarrassing. That's not I don't blame
Correct,
her
but
for not going public
Carlos,
with that.
you just said that she alleged that when she found out about Epstein, that she left him. I wanna know to what extent did she find out? That's what I'm saying. So, if she found out that he was up to no good and bad influence on her husband, that's one thing, but if she found out that he was a mastermind mind behind something really serious, I hope that these files, for her sake, doesn't implicate her in it being in the know. That's what I'm saying.
Wow. That nothing in the files is implicated in her being in the know other than her finding out about Bill Gates giving her an STD. So now you're going a little too far into it where no, we don't want to get sued, people. So yeah, nothing says that she knows anything other than what she says she knows. And that, if you find out your husband's a cheating asshole, it's pretty common to get an, especially the STD thing. I think that's what got her paid because I'm pretty sure I'm sure he would have had a prenup with her otherwise. So I don't know. I feel you. Like if it was like, to be fair though, with a 9/11 terrorist, I feel like there would be other signs other than it's like,
Epstein
why do
wrote
you
in
love flying airplanes so much? Like what?
in the
Airplanes.
letter that Epstein wrote to Bill, he said, and I quote, "I confessed to Melinda, you didn't." So I'm assuming he just was referring to infidelity and not
Yeah.
anything more serious than that. But you never know. You never know. So I don't trust anyone right now. I'm like, I'm gonna just assume the worst about everyone because I think
Yeah.
this is so horrible.
But he talks so much in code too, like he called Trump the dog that never barked and shit, where you would have seen Melinda Moore in the emails, especially him talking to Ghislaine Maxwell, who is definitely like the handler. And she obviously he's like the mastermind, but that bitch should not be playing around with a fucking puppy right now because that bitch was sick. So I feel
Yeah.
like he would have seen something like "take care of that" or something like that. You know what I mean? Like his emails to her were very code, and I don't know. I don't think she'd be around if she knew as much, unless he was trying to blackmail Bill. But who knows? I don't know. This is crazy. But anyways,
Who
what you got
knows?
next?
Next up, so there's a investigation by the National Enquirer that claims that 20 some people within Epstein circle have died under mysterious circumstances, which is sparking concerns of like maybe a broader cover up, right? So the reported deaths include alleged victims, house managers, lawyers, accountants, investigative journalists, and associates accused of procuring women. You know what's sad? A lot of the victims had then became part of the procurement as they got older. So a lot of the victims were then taxed with finding new victims, which is so twisted. And even though
Yeah,
they're part of it,
really.
and I think they should be held accountable, I also think that hurt people, and I think
Well,
and
yeah, and it's a
feel bad for
survival
them.
mechanism at that point. It's like if you don't fucking get me a friend, we're gonna cut off your fucking finger and shit like that. There's a lot of
Yeah, over
capture
there. or we're gonna hurt your family if you don't bring your friends. You know, like that's so
Exactly. So
scary, manipulative.
it's like a terrible bringer that you don't want to be a part in, even worse
Yeah.
than comedy was.
So,
It's not
according to National Enquirer, these fatalities appear connected to financial dealings tied to Epstein's operations, raising suspicions that powerful interests may be working to silence potential witnesses. So, the
yep.
first one I have here is Jean-Luc Brunel. Do you remember him? He was a French modeling agent linked to supplying girls to Epstein's circle.
That's
And
a
so
throwback. Yeah.
so a little bit of a throwback, but he was found dead by suicide. He hung himself
Sketchy as shit.
in La Sante prison, another hanging, another suicide in prison. This was in Paris in February 19th, 2022. And he was awaiting trial on sex trafficking and child abuse charges. So he was found dead, similar to someone else we know, Epstein himself. There's also Virginia. How do you pronounce her last name? Juffrey, Juff,
I'm pretty sure it's Jeffrey, but now
Jeffrey.
you said all three of them, and now I fucked it up in my brain. Jufre,
Well, she was
Jufre.
like the the main one to come forward, and like what a brave person. So rest in peace. I think she also had a book released, or a book like a memoir launched post-mortem. So she
Yeah,
was probably, I guess, the most prominent survivor, public accuser of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. She was a key voice in exposing just the entire trafficking network. So her death was ruled a suicide in April 2025 at the age of 41 in her home in Western Australia. Authorities ruled it a suicide, but her family publicly disputed some of the details. There's also someone named Carolyn Adriano, who was identified as a survivor who had testified at the Ghislaine Maxwell trial about abuse. She died from an accidental drug overdose in May 2023, found in West Palm Beach, Florida. And then there's another survivor. Her name was Lee Sky Patrick. She reportedly died of a drug overdose, 2017. This one, Mark Middleton. His role was a former White House aide and businessman who reportedly had some associations through shared social and political circles. So he was found dead May 7th, 2022 in Arkansas, ruled a suicide because he hung himself and shot himself.
what?
It was a ruled suicide, hanging, and a gunshot wound.
How the fuck? What?
I don't
That is
understand.
not what something. What?
And the last one I'm going to mention here, I was going to talk about Epstein, but Robert from wherever already asked. So we already talked about Epstein's, his mysterious death. But
Yeah,
when Epstein passed, he had a cellmate named Efren Stone Reyes. And so his cellmate at, I think the place was called MCC. He
yeah.
later cooperated with investigators. He died of COVID-19 in November 2020, which may have been legit, but it just seems like, I don't know. There's no official indication of foul play, but he is often included in lists due to timing. And
Yeah.
it was like on the heels of his cooperation with authorities. So,
It's weird.
yeah, you never know.
You never know, man. You really never know. And especially in that time when COVID was like running rampant, like it was November 20th when people were dying left and right, no one was going to ask any fucking questions, especially about a prisoner in jail in the Epstein case. So, again, not to put my tinfoil hat on, but something like that is very easily done by the old government. So, I don't know. I have no proof. It's just, if when you put it all together, it definitely looks sketchy as fuck. So, wow, man, this list is fucking crazy. Anyways, on to the next one. So this right here is something that to me is crazy. It's how many people rewrote history and the files that contradicted them. You know, like one of the most revealing patterns in the Epstein files is how many powerful people, I almost had a stroke there, publicly minimized or denied their relationship with them.
You
Only
had
for
a Donald Trump stroke?
yes, that's right. So people deny their relationship with him, only for documents to later show just how continued contact they were well past the point they claimed to have cut ties in. So, in public statements, several figures portrayed themselves as having quickly distanced themselves from Epstein's, sometimes framing it as like a moral stand or like a gut instinct that was something was off with this man. So I made the decision to walk away. But then you see the emails and the calendars and the witness testimony and the travel records, and they often tell a very different story. So let's go with some examples frequently cited in and reporting in court filings include some very connected people in this here current administration. For example, you have Howard Lutnick, who publicly described literally this dramatic story uh, uh, about how he met Epstein because they lived next to each other, and he like got such an icky feeling from it that he
So rich.
decided that they would never, ever going to hang out with that son of a bitch again. However, later documents and emails in the file showed an ongoing engagement in efforts to stay connected, contradicting that idea completely altogether. And I believe I have one of the emails. But basically, he brought his fucking wife and kids to Epstein's Island and shit, and he emails back and forth with the guy over and over. Another one is Elon Musk, who claimed that Epstein approached him about coming to the island and that he declined any involvement because I would never, ever want to go to that island. However, files and communications referenced in litigation show that Epstein actively pursued, actually, that Musk actually pursued Epstein's attention with interactions ex- extended way publicly and further than suggested. For example, there's some emails that say, you know, at one point, Elon's like, "Oh, probably just Tallulah and me. What day and night will be the wildest party on your island?" You know, there's another one where from us, Elon Musk to Epstein on Christmas 2012. He's like, "Do you have any parties planned? I've been working to the edge of sanity this year, and so once my kids head home after Christmas, I really want to hit the party scene in St. Bart's and elsewhere and let loose." And then Epstein replied, explaining that the ratio, quote unquote, meaning the gender balance, sausage fest or ladies, on his island might make Musk's companion uncomfortable. And Elon Musk replied, "Ratio's not a problem for Tallulah." Another one is the president of the United States, Donald Trump, who stated that he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago around 2005 after allegations surfaced. However, documents referenced in the Epstein files clearly indicate that Epstein spent Christmas with the Trump family, suggesting that their social contact continued way beyond the timeline Trump later described, or even his sons and shit. Epstein also mentioned going to Mar-a-Lago several times, including when Donald Trump was president-elect in Palm Beach, Florida, and during that November 22nd to 27th time period for the Thanksgiving holidays. This was 7 months before his arrest. And also note, you have emails on December 25th, 2018 of Jeffrey Epstein talking to billionaire Larry Summer, where you literally see Epstein saying, "I'm in Palm Beach all weekend." And then Larry Summer asks him, we'll call tonight or at some point, "Will you be visiting Mar-a-Lago?" And then Epstein responds, being asked for 3 names to replace Munchin, who was top cabinet position for Trump. So you have Jeffrey Epstein 7 months before his death being asked to provide tips on who to replace cabinet members by someone. Then you also have, September 28th, 2012, 3:30 p.m. What does J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, think of going to Mar-a-Lago after Xmas instead of his island? I thought, but is 2012 before 2005 or after? I don't know. Then you have sketchy shit emails where you have someone saying from Jeffrey Epstein to Nicholas L. Ribes, Nick, the girl in the newspapers that has made all this trouble, said she worked at Mar-a-Lago when she was 15 and 98. I virtually positive this is a lie. It was when she was 17 in 2000, which is still underage now. Her name is redacted. Who would I go to verify? I don't know how Donald would respond. And then you see a response titled regarding, I thought you said not to involve Donald. This was Ghislaine Maxwell replying to Epstein. Anyway, so now the die is case. You have to get her employment record. It will either show she started work in 1999 or 2000. She was full time, and I believe you cannot be a minor and work full time anywhere. So she must be at least 16 to be full time employment. Perhaps start that way. That alone would challenge allegations she was 15. As I said, you can't work full time anywhere at that age, and that maybe she gave a fake ID to Mar-a-Lago, which is also possible. However, let's see if you get more info. Please confirm the labor law. So they're basically trying to discredit a victim by saying, well, she was old enough,
Or by saying, well, if she was working at Mar-a-Lago full time, then we would have assumed she was of age. So if she was there full time, then she probably started working there with a fake ID, and that's not our fault. They're
That's
trying to put the blame on Donald Trump and
the
his like
victim.
employment policies.
Exactly. And saying, she was 16, and 16 is, obviously it's legal in some states, but that's a child. So fuck out of here. Also, you have emails, November 27th, 2016, like I said, during the Thanksgiving holiday, where you have Epstein saying, someone's talking to him. Let's see, Jenny Enterprise wrote, Somadome, how was your Thanksgiving? Love you. And Epstein responds, really fun. I'm in Palm with the Trump crowd. Literally Sunday, November 27th, 2016. So
What does somadome mean?
I don't know. Maybe some dome. Hey, you want to give me some dome? Some dome.
Somadome.
Definition. I have no idea. Activate your higher self. I don't know what the fuck that. I don't like it. Something healing. Something about old healing
Is there
practice.
another language?
It's like yogi talk, wellness and recovery talk. So massage talk. Ew, like massage stuff.
Oh.
So he goes, "That was your Thanksgiving. Love you." He goes, "Really fun with the Trump cats." So again, all this stuff that right there doesn't show any criminality in the sense like the stuff with the underage girl. Was she underage? Was she not? Definitely very weird. It shows that some stuff definitely involves the president more so than others. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, actively in the U.S. as we speak, bringing his children and his nanny to Epstein's Island after he was already a convicted sex offender.
Who would do that? Who would do that?
So fucking weird, dude. And that shit is sketchy, especially after his wild story of, I said to my wife, we're never hanging out with that scumbag again. And they were like, he was like, quit like emailing with him. They were like buddies. He would beg him to come hang out. Let me bring my family to your fucking island. Same thing with Elon Musk.
Didn't his wife say, we've got 4 kids, ages this, and this? Like, it's so weird. He's a known child predator. What the fuck kind of parent are you, you stupid bitch? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
So
I don't want to hurt your feelings, Carlos, but like when we heard remnants of Michael Jackson maybe not having the most close relationship with kids, any parent from that point forward who would let their kids hang out with Michael Jackson, like, may not be a great parent.
I
You know what I mean?
But did you hear the Michael Jackson thing in the files? that
Um,
apparently Michael might have known, and that he was actually taking kids to Neverland because he didn't want them to get diddled by elsewhere, but then they turned it around on him to ruin his life and shit. And right before he died, there is a video recording of Michael Jackson, like super paranoid, talking to some, I forget his agent, his attorney, something like that. But he's like, I'm so scared right now. I feel like I'm not going to be around much longer. And the thing is, I don't care if they take my life. I don't worry about my life, but I worry about my children, about my children's life. And the guy's like, Michael, who are you talking about? It's like, I can't tell you because it's not just the government. It goes way beyond the government. And then that's like, then, Michael Jackson passed shortly after. And
yeah.
obviously, you got to put your tinfoil hats on now and start. But if there's any, truth to this, that would really be massive. Let's hope. But, again, we didn't include it in the files because unverified. Like the stuff that we included is the stuff that we can at least verify that we read ourselves, that, again, there's millions and millions of pages of shit. It's going to take a long time to wade through this. So I have not seen anything that proves his innocence or that Epstein got him with 100% benefit of the doubt. But it is something to think about. Is at least interesting. But uh, what again? Some of this stuff is not proof of criminal activity, but what is shocking is the pattern. I guess I shouldn't say it's shocking because once he became radioactive, a lot of people suddenly remember their relationship with him very differently than what had happened. So these files don't just expose associations, they expose how quickly powerful people attempt to rewrite the past when they don't know that documentation exists to prove otherwise. Or, maybe they think that the documentation will remain hidden and they can say whatever they want and no one's going to challenge them on it. So sketchy Trump admin. And look how many of these people, like Elon Musk, all over Doge. Lutnick is still the Commerce Secretary. Trump, all these people, and the fucking current admin of the United States presidency. Sketchy. But anyways, what you got next?
Well, I hope they all go to hell. So next up, the most recent, drop of files have fueled some more like big time resignations and failed business ventures amongst the global elite. So like here at home, here in America, um, there was a handful. So there's someone named Kathy Rumler, the chief legal officer and
Riddler?
general counsel at Goldman Sachs.
She loves the rims and the
She
sack.
Yeah, she resigned after emails revealed ongoing friendly correspondence with Epstein, including receiving luxury gifts and calling him Uncle Jeffrey. Blah. Gross, right?
Mm, mm. I took a sip of water at the wrong time. I was spit that out. Wow. Ew. Uncle Jeffrey. Ew.
I um I think I don't really know what's going on with this guy, but the guy Leslie Wexner, he's like a huge billionaire. He was the
Yeah.
founder of Victoria's Secrets and Bath and Body Works. They had a big like expose about him on Netflix, I think, or
Yep,
some
did.
was it Netflix? I forget. But
Yeah, it was Netflix. The Victoria's Secret
he
guy.
he was named on the U.S. House floor as one of 6 men whose names had been previously redacted. FBI documents once characterized him in internal records as a co-conspirator, but he still hasn't faced any criminal charges. But like his life is over, and it should be. There was like a global business fallout in this situation. There is um in like a high profile corporate shift. Leadership changes occurred at DP World. DP. Um, it's it's a major Dubai-based logistics company, not double penetration, although maybe there was a little
Maybe.
bit of column A, a little column B.
They're both. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but this corporate shift was after emails with Epstein surfaced indicating prolonged communication and including a lot of sexually explicit content. Um, there was there's this guy named Ehud Barak. He's a former prime minister of Israel.
Oh.
He so he obviously was in politics, but he's also a business person. And he stepped away from politics. He came back a couple times, and then he ultimately wasn't successful later. But I think he does a lot of lectures and conferences to help, I don't know, hedge funds maybe, I don't know. But
Yeah.
he had acknowledged a long personal relationship with Epstein that continued into late 2010s. In 2015, this guy Barack, former Israeli prime minister, he invested in Reporty as a tech startup that developed video streaming and geolocation software and later changed its name to Carbine. In 2023, it was revealed that Barack had visited Epstein around 30 times from 2013 to 2017 and also flown on his jet. Other emails released by this hacker group called Handala show that Epstein leveraged his relationship with Barack to approach powerful figures like Peter Thiel, a former director of Israeli signals intelligence, and two people in Vladimir Putin's inner circle. So I think that it's just my assumption. I feel like
And no,
Epstein really tried.
Peter Thiel, sorry, was also a huge, huge billionaire, Silicon Valley billionaire and campaign donor for the 2016 Trump campaign. So no, all of this is happening
He's also
in
gay.
well, there's some gays for Trump.
It's
I've seen your
I
voting
think to
records.
myself, when people are minorities and they love Donald Trump's regime, I think to myself, are you not so naive to think that one day the knives won't be turned on you? Of course it will. Of
Yeah,
course
well,
it will. Like
he's a
they're coming
billionaire,
after you
so
at some point. Like you're not safe.
totally.
But
No, he's a
I think that
billionaire. He definitely thought he's gonna be like, in World War II, there's a lot of rich people who try to work with Hitler and thought that they could get away with, I'm different. They won't come after me. And those motherfuckers ended up the same way as the poor people did. Dead. So yeah, I'm with Simo here.
well,
They'll come after your face too, there, people. But yeah, don't forget when you name all these people, it's important to keep. I know we're gonna throw a lot of information, and we've been through a lot, but note it's all related. So it's all these different people that work for apparently the same goal and the same campaigns and the same people, all at the tip of the top. So, anyways, keep going.
I could be wrong, but Peter Thiel, wasn't he like a mentor for JD Vance? Didn't JD Vance make a career in Silicon Valley? Don't they have a rapport?
Um, let's see. He has been the primary benefactor and mentor for JD Vance, investing a record-breaking $15 million in his 2022 Ohio Senate campaign and facilitating his rise to vice president nominee. You see, he puts him in touch with Trump. Said, "Hey, get this guy going." He fucking gives him all this money. It's like the same shit, and it explains why JD Vance, who used to hate Trump, literally called him a Nazi, called him Hitler and all this shit before he had that beard and he was still fat. Even his face was even chunkier than it is now. He was like, "No, I hate Trump. I'm going to be a never Trumper." He looked like he would like freebase McDonald's cheeseburgers in the bathroom before coming out into his speeches. Now it looks like he eats them, but he'll chew them, but he spits them out. No, JD, no. Starts banging his couch. But it's
I
all like
think that
crazy.
I think that Epstein strikes me as like the type that would venture out and make connections with the top global elites, and like whether they were like royal families or monarchs or high political figures or wealthy like corporate individuals. And I think that he just wanted to have connections across the board. And I
Totally.
also think that he probably leveraged these connections to get what he wanted. So he'd be like, you know what? I know you want XYZ, and I know the person that can get you what you want if you do a favor for me. So I think that he was very
Totally.
sneaky in that sense. And so I think that not only did these records, these files indicate who might have been involved in this like sex trafficking ring, but it also has kind of like um shown light to the fact that Epstein was very much involved in Russian government,
Mhm.
and there's a few other people that were involved, and it just seems like Putin um, is really political figures, and Trump's regime are all having a lot of interesting conversations.
Yeah, Putin knows the value of a good blackmail. And
Yeah.
note, Epstein's whole start doesn't happen without Leslie Wexner. Wexner's the one that basically put Jeffrey Epstein up. He gave him all this shit. He gave him power of attorney over his assets. And Jeffrey Epstein ends up basically stealing money from him, and a lot of money from him. But Wexner had so much money that it took him a while to even notice. But eventually, Epstein had to pay like a settlement out to Wexner. But here's the thing: he probably had so much blackmail on him, which is one of the reasons why, because Wexner was listed as a uncharged co-conspirator there. So this whole thing taught Epstein one valuable thing. With blackmail, I can do anything. And by then, just imagine how many people Les Wexner introduced to Epstein that eventually became his connections. So it's all literally his first big heist is fucking over his billionaire hand that fed him and realized, wow, if I keep this motherfucker blackmailed as my bitch, I can do whatever the fuck I want. And then, you just go from there. But I mean, it's crazy. Blackmail is the key. Yeah, buddy Putin is quite masterful at it. It wouldn't shock me if he taught him a thing or two. But he kept a lot of powerful people on a little doggy leash with this shit. But anyways,
Hmm.
on to the next one. And this next one is a crazy revelation, again, which goes to tie things to the current administration. And here's the thing: we're not even trying to actively dump on the Trump admin. It just seems like all his buddies all over this fucking file. And this one's even crazier because Steve Bannon, one big revelation in the Epstein files was that Steve Bannon was helping Epstein rebrand himself while inside Trump's inner circle. It's literally one of the wildest overlaps in the files is that Steve Bannon, after leaving Breitbart, he became Trump's chief strategist in the first term. And he even briefly sat on the National Security Council. In that role, he was literally reshaping messaging, controlling access, and influencing policy at the highest level. And he's still like shilling for Trump. He's one of the ones that was recently on record at one of these uh, Republican conferences saying that if the Democrats win the midterms, that a lot of them, including himself, are going to jail. So, and note that while he was working with Trump in the White House, at the same time, according to reporting tied to court filings and interviews, Bannon would meet with Epstein multiple times to try to help him rehabilitate his image. The strategy reportedly included framing him as a major donor to science and academia, literally telling him that they needed to, quote, push back on the lies and, quote, rebuild your image as a philanthropist, not as a full on rapist. He also said that they were going to leverage elite networks to clean up his public image, aka rich people, the media, and shit like that. Who knows? Maybe, uh, literally, like like news, like they wanted to use SEO and Google search to bury Epstein news from his child diddler stuff and putting stuff at the bottom and putting different things on the top instead. Um, they also were advising on media and messaging narratives. They also shows that Bannon's discussing with Epstein's support for far right movements in Europe, with Bannon telling Epstein that he was focused, on, I quote, focused on raising money for France's Marine Le Pen and Italy's Matteo Salvini shortly before the 2019 European Parliament election. So the optics here are impossible to ignore. It's a convicted sex offender that was working with one of the top political strategists in the country to rebuild his image, while that strategist held the keys to the president's inner circle and still does. If you can tell me that doesn't add fucking fuel to the fire, I don't know what to tell you, people. But that is sketchy as fuck.
Super sketchy. Though, Steve Bannon is a mastermind. He's evil as fuck. But like,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for him, I don't know if Donald Trump would have been as successful in these elections. Like, Donald Trump really is like I think to myself, people are so stupid to vote for him. But I think that people that vote for him, some could argue that maybe they're white supremacists, but some of them I think just like fell for the lies. And
Yeah.
I kind of sympathize with people who were really hoping that he would bring forth like affordability. So I have this thing here about Donald Trump. So Steve Bannon, if you're listening, I'm sure you are. I just want to remind you that like you have a lot of work to do to help rebrand Donald Trump. So currently, Donald Trump holds 91 criminal charges,
Wow.
26 sexual assault allegations, 6
Wow.
bankruptcies, 5 draft deferments, 4 indictments, 2 impeachments, 2 convicted companies, 1 fake university shutdown, 1 fake charity shutdown, $25 million fraud settlement, $5 million sexual abuse verdict, $2 million fake charity abuse judgment, $93 million sexual abuse judgments, $400+ million in fraud judgment. He's also the first president in history to serve a full term and increase the deficit every year he was in office.
That is sad. That's just let me get him the. Yeah,
He
that's the
was,
one.
I don't know if this is for sure, but I think he's the first major party candidate in half a century to lose the popular vote twice. So
Yeah.
he won, but he didn't win the popular vote.
Well, this
Here,
last time he did. I will say he did win the popular vote against Harris in the last election, which is fucking. I don't even want to talk about it. I just got angry. I almost had an aneurysm again. But no, real quick, the as much as the him raising the deficit sucks for us, uh I mean, that's money in his pocket. Those are the double tax cuts, both in for his 2016 tax code that just expired, and now the big beautiful bill. So him and his billionaire buddies all fucking get massive tax cuts, and we have to pay for it because obviously we're the ones that always have to fucking pay for it as the middle class. But the rest of them are laughing their asses all the way to the fucking bank. So
yeah,
he's like,
I
"What
guess
is it? What
I
is
guess
that, dude?"
my point is like on paper, Donald Trump looks very clearly unqualified to run a business, let alone a country. And so like he just looks like such an idiot on paper. So for him to be where he is today, Steve Bannon is a brilliant mastermind, which is scary because he's also pure evil. And if Steve Bannon was able to get this idiot Donald Trump elected, I'm sure that he was really um, I think people are like, how did Epstein do this for so long and not get caught? Yeah, because of people like Steve Bannon who are like brilliant at like cover-ups and connections and PR.
Yeah, no, totally, totally, absolutely. Here's the thing: this is why, and the comparison to Hitler are wild because people used to think that Hitler was a dumbass too, and same thing with Trump. But they would like give him stuff because they thought that he was controllable, and it's the same exact thing. These people are actively trying to control Trump and try to control his policies and shit, but they don't know that you can't control chaos. Like this guy does his own thing. Like as much as he'll do things for his donor, you'll eventually gonna lose him, and he's gonna fuck you over too, just like he does everybody else. So stay tuned because the shoe drops, people. So all these billionaires eventually they're gonna get what's coming to them. So I don't know. He always shows his real face after. But anywho, uh, what you got next, Mister Mo? Is he dead?
I just changed my hotspot.
There you go. Look at him, so crispy and clear. So yes, what you got next, Mister Mo?
Okay, so next up, I kind of alluded to earlier that there was a lot of like failed business ventures among the global elite.
Yes,
But I also just wanted to showcase that so Europe specifically, like they don't mess around, like they're not playing games. So
right.
Europe has such a crackdown, and it's sad that we don't follow the same sentiment here. Um, but across Europe, the Epstein documents have racked, like straight up, like fucking racked political and aristocratic circles, with revelations implicating figures including royals, ambassadors, um, officials, prompting reputational damage, even where no criminal charges have even been filed yet. So just being like associated with Epstein has been like um, recipe for a disaster for any of them. So,
Yeah.
um, one guy that I wasn't surprised by, his name is Sir Richard Branson. He's the like Virgin um company guy. Like there's like Virgin Records and there's like Virgin like airline.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
No.
He was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And in 2013, he emailed Epstein that he would love to see you as long as you bring your harem. Harem is slang that is like for like group of women around one man, female posse. That's a
Ew.
harem.
Ew. Ew.
Um, Also, former UK ambassador to Washington. His name is Peter Mandelson. He was fired and could go to prison.
Yep.
Um, and the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, he faces a leadership crisis over this whole like Mandelson appointment.
Mhm.
So senior figures have fallen in Norway, Sweden, and
Oh,
Slovakia.
and no, super quick. The thing with the Mandelson appointment, that this Keir Starmer is apparently he knew way more about what the fuck this person's association with Epstein was, and he still appointed them. So it's like it's just showing these people are all connected. But keep going, keep going.
Horrible. And we all know about Prince Andrew. And I think that I
Yeah.
thought I read an article that Fergie um just closed one of her charities or something. I think she's getting in trouble too. Because
Really?
but I think that Fergie is similar to Gates' wife. I think that Fergie may have known some things, as she was pretty
Oh,
friendly
wait, wait,
with
wait.
Epstein.
Yeah, there's two Fergies, people. That not Fergalicious. Not the Black Eyed Peas Fergie. This is
No, no,
European.
no. Princess Fergie.
That's right. That's right. So for a
She's no
second,
longer Princess Fergie.
whenever I hear Fergie, I just go Fergalicious, make the waves go loco. So
But
different Fergie.
I think that Fergie I think that she knew that her ex-husband, Prince Andrew, was sick. And I don't think she was in the I I do sympathize with, don't get me wrong, Gates' ex-wife. I feel bad for her. But I think that Fergie having more of a rapport with Epstein, I wonder how much she knew too about all this. Um so apart from the former Prince Andrew, none of these people have faced claims of sexual wrongdoing. They've just been toppled for maintaining friendly relationships with Epstein after he became a convicted sex offender. So basically, like all these governments were like, I don't know the details, but what I do know is this guy got in a lot of trouble for touching kids and trafficking kids, and then you still felt like he was an appropriate person to do business with. You're a fucked up person. So
Oh,
I agree with that 100%. So let's just here's just a few people. So far who's been like um in trouble. We got Norway's crown princess, Norway's ex-prime minister, Norwegian former ambassador to Jordan, French ex-culture minister, his name is Jack Lang. Um, uh, Culture minister is apparently a really big deal in France, I guess. So Jack Lang was summoned to appear Sunday at the French Foreign Ministry, which oversees the Arab World Institute in Paris, but he just instead just submitted his resignation. It's like, no thanks.
yeah.
And ex foreign minister in Slovakia. Like there's been a lot of people and more coming who are like, you know what, I'm just gonna resign
Yeah,
and I'm gonna
there's a reckoning
resign.
going on in Europe, and hopefully the same thing can happen here in America. But I don't know, man. It's wild how things are actually happening in Europe, and here it's just like fucking stagnating. But let's fingers crossed that justice is just
But you
slow.
know what? Let's say someone, I don't know, let's say there's someone in some country and they were like, you know what? I had to step down from my position because I went to a random birthday party and I didn't do anything that was bad. I just went to a birthday party because a lot of important people were there. So if I'm in trouble, I want to know why these motherfuckers in America and they're not in trouble and they're not resigning from their jobs. Hell no. So I think I would be motivated to blow up their spot some more, you know?
I only went to Epstein Island because I was told to be a petting zoo. I did not know the petting zoo was children. What the hell?
It was children.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. But anywho, let's see. We each have. Oh, I have two. You have one left. So we're getting towards the end of this thing. But no, the number two most shocking thing on my list is that this shit was definitely like a sex transportation / prostitution ring. But here's the thing: sex trafficking victims were scrubbed from the files. One large group of people, quote unquote, collected by Epstein is scrubbed from the files by literally anonymizing black bars, these giant black bars that are way too many of these documents, even though they shouldn't have been. Some of these are protecting the victims and suspected victims of his trafficking operations, but some we've seen are protecting culprits, like in the Lex Wesner case. But emails and messages suggest that Epstein had people scouting for him in all kinds of countries, like France, Morocco, Spain, and Sweden are mentioned. And you have people who would send him pictures of girls and young women he might be interested in inviting to the U.S. Messages often included their body measurements as well. And he would ask questions like brown eyes or blue, back to, like, for example, which Epstein wrote in a proposal to a model from quote unquote a small village in 2017. Another email offers Epstein an introduction to a Paris based model who was also 17 at the time. The files also contain multiple discussions about organizing green cards to allow for travel to the US. And in one email, Epstein orders a green card recipient to lose weight to make the most of this, quote, once in a lifetime opportunity. The criminal charges that were pending against Epstein at the time of his death in 2019 were summarized by the Department of Justice as relating to I quote, years long scheme to recruit and entice minor girls into engaging in commercial sex acts. And the victims, quote, who typically ranged in age from 14 to 17-year-old,
Oh,
were brought to his home to get Epstein, I quote, massages in exchange for money. And they said, again, this is all quoted. Once the victims were alone with Epstein, the massages became increasingly sexual, according to the department, in order to maintain a steady stream of underage girls to perform sexual acts. Epstein also directed others, including some of the victims, to recruit other minor girls, as CMO mentioned. The files suggested that at one time the FBI was directed was investigating other people who were involved beyond Epstein and his former girlfriend and co-accused conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted of child sex trafficking in 2021. And this is where it gets super sketchy. They had a list of names that could have been co-conspirators, as we know, but they had everybody redacted other than Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So why the fuck would they do that? They leak out victim information and shit that was supposed to be redacted, but instead they spent all their time redacting people that were conspirators to Epstein himself. It's like, what the fuck? That's another reason why the victims are pissed. The victims are literally saying they're putting us out there. They're trying to dox us because they don't want us talking. And I 1,000% believe that this is something that the current Justice Department would do.
Yeah, and I think that I don't think people. I was telling my mom about this actually earlier today. I don't think a lot of people realize how scary this is for the survivors
Oh
because
yeah,
a lot of them have turned up dead from quote unquote drug overdose. And so a lot of them have come forward and asked for what's the word? Anonymity.
right. Good
They've
job.
asked, can you please not say my name? Some of them said, listen, like I am saying this to you under the pretense that like no one's gonna find out about this. Like my family doesn't even know about this. Like I don't
Right.
want I'm so ashamed, I'm so embarrassed, and I'm so scared. I don't want anyone to know about this because my family was threatened if I were to ever come forward. So I don't want anyone to know about this. And so
Totally.
for them to have their name, addresses, like contact information and photos. There's like a lot of incriminating, like sexually explicit pictures depicting them to be not redacted.
Yep.
It's it's so horrible to me. I feel like um it's if you are a victim, it's your choice on your timetable to come forward with whomever you want to whenever you want to. There's no one
Yeah.
else's responsibility to have that conversation on your behalf.
Totally.
But that's what the American government did. They were like, "We're just going to tell the world. We're going to tell the world that you got dipped and done and diddled and trafficked and whoops." And the fact that Pam Bondi couldn't turn around and look those people in the eye and say, "I'm sorry that my administration did this," was so horrible.
Yeah. No, she was a total fucking asshole that whole time. Like,
I hate her.
and especially
Hate her.
because she's a woman. Like, she should fucking know better, and she should have shown these women some respect. Like, if it was just not to excuse men because we're stupid, but like maybe if it was a guy who okay, I can say he doesn't get it, like, but like she should fucking get it. Like she should fucking get it way more. She has probably seen some misogynistic shit in her day, especially as a Florida attorney. You know what I mean? You'd think that she'd have a little empathy, but this was the same woman who she had a dog that I believe it was after a hurricane or something that she found, and it turned out that it was like a little kid's dog. And she got, she Pam Bondi had gotten from the shelter and shit. And but it was like I forget if it was Katrina or one of the big hurricanes that destroyed shit. Eventually the boy was able to track down the dog and wanted his dog back. And she tried to lie to him and say that that wasn't the same dog and shit. And it was like this whole thing till eventually the little kid was able to get his dog back. But she was like that type of person. So
Well,
just
she campaigned in Florida about bringing down like perverts.
yeah.
And
And like that ad is age as well as fucking spoiled milk in someone's ass on a hot summer day. It is not, woo, you can smell it from here. Yeah, so that is, so yeah, I hope that this is just the end of this woman's career after this. This is not, I never like to wish that someone can't pay their bills and something like that, but she's done enough evil now. Like, what a piece of shit. I hope, like, if you hire Pam Bondi to defend you or to be your lawyer after seeing this display of what she can do, then whatever happens to you is on you. That's all I'm gonna say.
but you know what? I've got an aunt and uncle specifically who will who will turn a blind eye and overlook all these things simply because that Pam Bondi proudly displays a cross around her neck.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so crazy. Like, but she's a God-fearing woman. She's a stupid cunt. She's a
Yeah.
stupid, dumb bitch.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Ugh, I hate her. Okay, this is my last one. My last one is just a little bit more topical because it's super recent. That's why I put it number one. But do you remember last year when um I guess Epstein was turning 50 and Ghislaine Maxwell put together this book of birthday cards that were handwritten and typed up, whatever, and compiled to this book for him. And it was a lot of notable people. And I was filled with a lot of like inappropriate discussion and pictures and things, but it was a bunch of inside jokes and a lot of people, a lot of prominent people contributed to it. And
Yep.
so Donald Trump had allegedly wrote something, and then at the end of it, it was like, "Happy birthday, may every day be another wonderful secret." And it
And
was
it was
in
a woman. His
yeah,
signature was the woman's vagina.
like pubes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, "This is a hoax, it never happened. Yeah, like this is bogus." And then everyone was like,
Then
yeah,
he
and
wrote
everyone was like, "Well, it kind of looks like your signature." And he was like, "No, no, no." And they're like, "Well, you do tend to use like magic marker. You use a lot of Sharpies." And he was like, "No, no, 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 no." So newly released Justice Department documents and emails from early 2026, just a couple weeks ago, appear to show an effort by associates of Jeffrey Epstein to get Donald Trump specifically to contribute to a 50th birthday book for Epstein in late 2002. So an email dated December 24th, 2002, with the subject line B-Day book update appears to detail outreach efforts to Donald Trump and other associates for this book. Because he was like, this book is a hoax. Well, there's documentation from over 20 years ago where someone was really actively pursuing prominent figures to contribute to this book, right? And so the email sent by an unidentified person indicates that submissions from Trump had not yet arrived, suggesting an attempt to secure his participation. So it
Yep.
didn't say that they secured it, it just said that like they're still waiting for him
Yep.
to submit something.
And listen to
Um
this fucking birthday card too. This is the most Trumpy, him thinking that he's so cool, like, having his own TV show and shit. But it's again, it's the outline of a woman, and it reads voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. And that part is written over the woman's breast. Jeffrey,
mhm.
nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes, we do. Come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. You can believe me. Signature, women's vagina. That is like the creepiest birthday card ever.
Yeah,
What? What in the ditty? Like that
very
is
cryptic.
that is so creepy. I would
I
never
think
ever send my friend a birthday card like that. Just
I
that
think
messenger, even without the woman in it, it's creepy.
I also think that another submission had like a blank Trump check in it too. That I don't know if it was real or not, but I think everyone knew that like they were best buds. And
Yeah.
so um there's these organizers, I think they're called the Secret Handshake, and they curated just recently. I think I mm, was yesterday Epstein's birthday. They curated a 10-foot tall birthday card, like a replica of the one from Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein, on like the National Mall right before Epstein's birthday. So you can Google it. It's 10 feet tall. Um, but it's like a huge 10-foot tall, like perfectly proportioned replica of what Donald Trump allegedly wrote to Epstein. Like, it, probably displayed like there in DC. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah, I
looking
get
at it?
it.
There's also like a while back, there's like a statue. I think it was like Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump like shaking hands or something. Wasn't there like it's a few like really big art installations that I just adore?
Yeah, they're like they're they're not like shaking, they're like skipping. They're holding
I was
hands
kidding.
and they're like skipping like ah.
I love it.
With the Capitol building in the background. Yeah, it's called the secret handshake, but it like literally is like you see Donald with his one leg up. Like like when you kiss someone, a little leg comes up.
But
What's up?
I could be wrong, but I think Secret Handshake is the name of the organizers. I think they call themselves the Secret Handshake.
Hold on. But artist, the secret handshake. Yeah, that's called Best Friends Forever, also known as Why Can't We Be Friends? There you go. You're right. That's hilarious.
Can't
Why
we
can't
be
we be
friends?
friends? Yeah. Oh man, that's wild.
Well, your number one is the best one, so I'm ready for this. And I hope that they throw him through the ringer.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Because number one, I think the most shocking thing that I've seen in the FBI files is that their files prove without a shadow of a doubt that FBI Director Kash Patel lied his ass off to the American people because said FBI Director Kash Patel testified during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on September 16th, just a couple of months before the files were released, when people were discussing about whether to force a release on them. And he said that the Bureau had, I quote, no credible information that sex offender Jeffrey Epstein trafficked young women to other individuals besides himself. But literally, a quick glance at the files prove way fucking otherwise. So first, you have the aforementioned list of black dot co-conspirators that we already mentioned. So that literally proves that there's other conspirators other than fucking Jeffrey Epstein. But then you have emails like this. For example, you have someone who, for some reason, their name was redacted, even though he's clearly a pedophile, talking to Jeffrey Epstein, emailing him on Thursday, January 17th, 2013, saying, new Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 9 years old. Best regards. Literally, that's signed to Jeffrey, and all that is redacted. So we should know who this pedophile is, who's fucking talking about 9-year-old Brazilian boy. Or how about an email from Kash Patel's own FBI staff that was also released, where he goes, they're asking, do we have clear guidelines for redacting images? So it says, good morning, sir. IMDS RIDS request guidance redacting photographs. Who is protected under this transparency task? As mentioned before, we need guidance to redact 1B items. IMD RIDS is requesting clear and consistent guidance to process 1B items. There are several boxes that need to be processed, and the sooner they have clear and consistent guidance, the sooner they will start processing those items. The 1B items contain photographs of multiple individuals to include the subjects of this investigation, Epstein and Maxwell. The IMDS RIDS needs clear and specific guidance to redact those photographs, and some photographs depict victims, unknown, unidentified females and males, former U.S. presidents, secretary of states, and other celebrities. The software does not have IA facial recognition to assist with the identification of some public officials and celebrities. So, long story short, yeah, these bitches knew. There's a reason why Pam Bondi first was the day of that he got inaugurated, was so excited. Look, the Epstein files are on my desk, people. I'm so excited to start wading through these and let the American people know what's in these files. So all of a sudden she goes, files? There were never any files in my desk, you crazy fuckers. What are you talking about? There's no such thing. Same thing here with Patel. He literally went on to a Senate Judiciary Committee and under oath testified that there was no evidence that Epstein had any co-conspirators, or that it was just him and Ghislaine Maxwell, and that we should all move on because there's nothing to see here. And clearly the files prove that there's plenty to fucking see here. There's plenty of other people that were conspirators out there. There are plenty of other people that were credible victims. That's another thing. He tried to say that he didn't find the victims were credible, and then he tried to backtrack it, but that's what he fucking said. So all this shit just proves without a shadow of a fucking doubt that the FBI right now is not working at releasing files and actually bringing out truth. No, they are working to protect the people, the pedophiles in power, and most likely the president of the United States, who they seem to do everything for. So it doesn't shock me that they're now trying to say that no more files were released, even though there's still millions and millions of files to go, and that they're trying to go again, say that we should just move on and that there's nothing to see here. Because these motherfuckers know just how deep the fucking merry-go-round goes, or just how deep the rabbit hole goes, I should say. And this shit is not good. So FBI, Kash Patel, it's not too late to resign, brother. Because if someone gets any fucking sense and somebody else that's not a Republican takes power, I have a feeling your ass is going to go to jail. So keep perjuring yourself, buddy. But this shit is not looking good for you people. So the number one is these motherfuckers know, and they're not working at helping. No, they're working at protecting. And that's something that we should all be fucking terrified about. And that's why it's good for people like us and anybody who's out there looking at the files to keep looking, because they literally keep deleting files, they keep redacting things, they keep trying to change the narrative right under our eyes. So the more people staying on top of this shit, the less likely they are to get away with it. Whew. I'm like fucking angry now. I'm like,
yo estoy de acuerdo sobre todo.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, frat chatters of all ages, hopefully no children are listening to this, or else you're terrible parents. That has been our top 10 wildest factoids we found on the Epstein Files so far. Because note, we might revisit this topic again as more information comes out, or as another leak comes out, or another dump, because there's plenty of this mystery that's not just out there. It's unsolved mysteries. So we'll be back with this shit. In the meantime, let us know what you thought of our list. Let us know if there's another crazy Epstein fact that we might have missed out there that we just have to talk about. And maybe we'll pick this back up very, very ASAP. Or if there's any other topics, anything else you want to talk about, I have seen a suggestion out there on social media that we do some definitions, some classic college hazing ex-rituals or rituals that people don't know about, like an ookie cookie. What is that? I don't know. You'll find out. So I like suggestions like that. So let us know. Keep suggesting topics. Shoot us an email, fratchatpodcast@gmail.com, or send us a message on our social post or on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, all that bad boy at Frat Chat Podcast. And of course, make sure you give us a follow as well. Check out my website, carlosgarciacomedy.com. You can also give me a follow at Carlos Does Well. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok. That's on YouTube. That's on Threads. Carlos Does World, Twitter/X. If you want to see me, want people to release the files week after week and talk shit to the government. And also, make sure you give my buddy CMO a follow here at chris.moore.comedy on Instagram, on TikTok, at CMoreComedy. on Twitter/X. So, Mo,
Forgot to tell you something.
go on.
Someone messaged me on Instagram and they told me that if you quiz new members, per last week's episode, if you quiz new members on the names of upperclassmen or alumni, it is absolutely hazing if it's mandatory for acceptance or continued membership, and if there are penalties. It could just be embarrassment, it could be push-ups, doesn't matter, but it creates a power imbalance meant to intimidate, and it causes stress, fear, humiliation, and is absolutely framed as a test of loyalty or tradition, and it's 100% hazing. I was like, what? Because I think you should know your alumni. And your,
Yeah,
I
but
think it's,
man, like the key word there, if there's the threat of punishment and showing that, but some, like for example, they were the academic fraternities that didn't have any hazing, and they also had those tests. And if
Yeah.
you didn't get it, you just didn't get in, and you had to take the test again. So that's not fucking hazing. But if you're like, obviously, like do push-ups if you don't know my name, well, yeah, that's I'll give it to you. That's hazing. But anyways.
Anyway, I motion to adjourn this meeting.
And I second, because me and CMO got to put our tinfoil hat and get the fuck out of here before Pam Bondi listens to this shit. So we'll be back next week with another edition, hopefully, of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasts at the time. It's the FratChat Podcast. See ya!
Bye.
The truth is out there.